Okay. Thank you for those that have been seated from morning, and welcome to those that are just joining us. We'll now resume track 1, parenting. This session, supporting parents and children in vulnerable communities. The impact of zones of special operations, crime and violence. Our presenter is Ms. Simone Sharrier. In this session, participants will discuss the impact of ZOSO and violence on parents, young children, and the community. Supporting children and their families in these vulnerable communities is important and needed. The presenter, Ms. Simone Sharrier, is an associate counseling psychologist. Simone Sharrier serves the grieving and traumatized through the Justice Ministry. She has over 15 years training and experience in providing persons with psychological assistance aimed at returning individuals to functioning or close to functioning levels in the shortest possible times. During this time, she successfully developed, implemented, and worked with crisis intervention programs in communities, especially for sexually traumatized females. She has also effectively helped clients realize their career objectives, set goals, and achieve desired outcomes. Please be reminded that we want to keep PDI trending all week, and so we encourage you to use the hashtags, #ECCPDI 2024 and #12StandardsMatter. The registration will be shared for you to register, and at the end we'll have evaluations for you to complete. Please note, not everyone will be given an evaluation form, as we only want a sample. Put your hands together and make welcome Ms. Simone Sharrier.
Good morning. Morning, everybody. No, that's better. Okay, so normally I'm asked about the name. Simone is fine, all right? Unless you plan to write me a check, don't worry about my surname, and don't worry about the spelling. Simone is just really, really good. So, somebody is coming to help me, because sometimes we just really, really need help. Agreed? So while we're getting going, just to let you know, well, you'd have already heard, today I'm tasked with just having a great conversation. So just chill a little bit. I know we love our devices, so just watch for a few little minutes, and then we'll talk. Okay? So we're always prepared. This is what trauma does. It takes us, it gives us the high and the low, and so we're prepared for just about anything. All right? So as Jamaicans, whenever I do a stress presentation, which is not what we're doing today, I normally say that I live in Jamaica, and so stress is inevitable. It's just really sad, because there's crime and violence. And I guess this is why I have a job. That I should have quietly said that. Yes? Yes. Crime and violence steal the dreams of our children. It does. I see it every day, just the mere fact that they're not able to play freely. Did I say pray? Yeah, we're still able to pray freely. Crime and violence affect how children learn. It does. Later in the presentation, you'll recognize that it affects the brain. Trauma affects the brain. Violence is an act of physical force that causes or is intended to cause harm. And that we probably didn't even need to go into. But just to give you a little backdrop where we're going. Okay? So I will not be reading verbatim from what you're seeing. This is just a guide because some of us are visual. I am a visual person, so I love to see. So I did this just for those who are visual, okay? So on your screen, let's just take a little movie break and just observe.
I got him. Oh my god, I got right on his hand. He's so pathetic. Oh, he's so sad. Is he gonna eat it? Oh my god. Lunch is served, buddy.
I appreciate you bringing this to my attention, Raquel. Noah has a, history of incidents. Why do the quiet ones always get picked on? We take bullying very seriously. We can't police the internet, of course, but I'll make a report of it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Hey. Are you okay?
Hey, Raquel. Raquel. Raquel.
Kel. You're kind of quiet. Those kids still bothering you? Hey, just don't let those jerks on the internet get to you. You're lucky. Nowadays, you can just block them. Case closed.
Are you okay?
Hey. Are you okay?
Man, this sucks.
I'm really feeling that one.
I know, right?
Okay. So I leave you to pull what you want to pull from that. I'll have you know, though, when I think crime and violence, I normally think blood and weapons and that kind of a thing. But we're in an era where crime and violence has taken on many forms, and our children are indeed suffering. So I did get a little bit of statistics, just a little bit. And there we have Sonny in his bed, a baby. And he's thinking, because it's in our faces, it's in their faces. They don't have to search very hard. It's there. So we see 51% of the rape victims are girls under 18. We have 24% of girls say their first sexual experience was forced. 8 out of 10 children ages 2 to 14 experience some form of violent discipline. 3% of people accused of murder between 2016 and 22 are under 18 years of age. And we could spend the entire day and pull stats and scrutinize and cry and pray and develop strategies. Are our children impacted? What are some of the types of violence, we might ask? So there are 4 different categories, but there are many offshoots we have, and we hear these. We have homicide, the killing of one human being by another. In the news recently, we had children just killing children. Not only am I a counselor, I'm a mother. I'm a mother. We have assault, physically attacking another person with the intent to cause harm. And then there's robbery, and then there's rape. Rape is a lot. It's heavy. So rape is broken down in different kind of terms, and we won't get into all of those nuances today because I'm of the opinion we already know. Children who are exposed to traumatic life events are at significant risk for developing serious and long-standing, long-lasting problems. And some of us here are teachers, some of us are parents. And we see it every day. We see it every day. Children are more likely to exhibit resilience. I'm kind of not liking that word these days, but I'm loving it. I'm confused. I might be traumatized, I don't know. Children are more likely to exhibit resilience to childhood trauma when community and institutions understand the impact of trauma. So this is why you're here. It's also very important to share common ways to talk and think about trauma. So for me, when I sit with a parent sometimes with a child that's severely traumatized and I listen to how that parent talks to that child, for example, talk up things, tell the lady there to help you, and you're kind of just rushing that child who has not even processed what has happened. It's difficult on the parents, it's difficult on me. Think about this child who should be safe at home. Home should bring safety. School was once a relatively safe space. Yes? I'm a proper country girl. I walked to and from school, and I was fine. I took the bus without fear. I just wondered if they would carry the schoolers, that's all. Yes? But I must admit I lived a really good life. I did. What impact does violence have on the community? Does it really have an impact? Chronic stress increases the chance of heart diseases. So I hear people talking about how they're so young and, you know, when we were growing up, as old people have this and that kind of a thing. Well, our children are stressed. I remember some years ago, a pastor said, what does a 9-year-old, the 9-year-old has no share and part with experiencing stress. I have 2-year-old clients. They're stressed. They're stressed. The health of a community can be affected by violent encounters because you do not need to have a personal connection to violence to feel the stress of it. I don't necessarily have a personal connection, but it gets very personal when on any given day you're working with a traumatized child, a parent who just can't be, should I say can't be bothered? Sometimes they can't because they're stressed too. What is the impact of violence on the children? And somehow we alluded to it before. Trauma has an impact on a child's emotional development, social functioning, and academic performance. Yet if they don't get the first choice for PEP, heaven help them. If they don't pull down the 9 ones, Lord have mercy on them. When they're leaving out of areas where they didn't sleep last night, or they had to sleep under the bed because of what's happening, or it might just be the very device that they have, that they're using to prepare for the exam, as we saw on our video, that it's coming full center. Hurting people hurt. Trauma can lead to dysregulation, hyperarousal, and so we're hearing terms like ADHD. Lord Jesus, pick me just busy and can't sit down in a class. Yes, there's a lot happening. As you reach home, you just depend on the tablet. And we complain a lot. Living with high levels of violence and trauma can affect children's development. It is said that the traumatized brain is actually smaller than the normal functioning brain. It's that same brain that we use to process material. Yet we complain. Him just slow. I hate to hear that term. Yeah? You pick me slow, you see? You see when his sister did a 5, this in the dado. And now the boy, and we say it so many times. I learned early, God has a great sense of humor. So I have 2 girls, and they're miles apart. They're very close in age, extremely close, but they don't do anything the same way. And that has taught me, that a valuable lesson. So I would have had one say to me, the hair texture different, right? So I would have had one say to me, the younger one, when epitome of great mothering said to my children, you're different and it's okay, but you know, you're stressed out and you're combing here Saturday morning. And I said, why can't you sit still like your sister? And she turned around. Mommy, we're different. And I was like, oops, in your face, Simone. Yes. So they are different. So let's not compare them. Those who experience or witness violence may develop a variety of problems, including anxiety, depression, insecurity, anger. And may I just pause right here? Working with a young lady in recent times, and every time she comes, she's coming off a detention. I say, yo, what going on here? So I looked at her around about fourth session, and I said to her, let's call her Simone. I hope there's no other Simone in the room. Let's call her Simone. What are you angry about? Because there must be some level of anger. She's always fighting. Sweet young lady. And she broke. For the first time, somebody's recognizing that. I'm angry. Home is miserable, community is miserable, school is miserable, and she's fighting for survival. She's fighting to figure out which parent is it safer with. She's just fighting, and she's just angry. So those who experience or witness violence may develop all sorts of issues. Let's look at the impact. So for those who love, you know, a graphical representation, there you have it. Let's look at the brain development. And like I said, I'm not going through everything. I mean, word for word. The small brain development. So the impact of childhood trauma is that that child is going to have a smaller brain size. Think about a bicycle carrying 50 bags of cement. It's not possible. There's going to be some sort of damage there. In fact, it can't move. It cannot move. Less efficient processing. So they're not able to handle what's going on. So they might tune out at school, or they might just be rather disruptive at home. Impaired stress response. Them just can't manage. You know, I tend to think that when I was growing up, because I did have some stress, but not the kind of stress these children have. Yes? The stress of walking in the sun, go home. I didn't know any better, so I don't even think I was stressed. Rain or fall, you wet up and you take off your shoes. Did I say I'm a country girl? I'm from upper country. Yes, somebody's smiling. I won't tell you where that is, but you know it's a nice school parish, upper country. Go over to cognition. That's right, front and center. Again, impaired readiness to learn. So we're going to put them in the slow stream. Yes? And then we just bunk them up over there, so. That again is traumatic. Difficulty in problem solving. So we just fight, because that's how I know how to do it. Language delays. Sometimes when I sit before a child and I'm wondering, why can't I communicate? This is a 15-year-old. Why do I feel like I'm talking to a 5-year-old? They're not processing. Their cognition is affected. They're just not processing. Poor academic achievement. And then we set some standards. Yeah? Or comes in on the honor roll. I hate that word. It's good to have some marker. And as a parent, it feels really good when you go to prize giving and you see your daughter and you're like, that's my girl. And you're really excited. Yes, and you should be excited. Yes? But don't measure them because they didn't score the 95. In grade 3, children preparing for tests, and because I'm a helicopter mother, yeah, I said that, so everybody knows Simone. So they're gathering to go do tests. And I said to one of my daughter's bestie, I don't know if that term is still used, you know, and I said to every one of them, make sure you do your best. You're the only one in the exam room, so tune out everybody and just do what you can. Child looked at me and said, no, Auntie Simone, Mommy said, make sure so me beat Toby. That has never left me. My children are high schoolers. Talking about a grade 3 child that said that to me. It's painful on them. Why are we stressing them out in addition to the stress they already have? Then we have physical health. So some of our children are constantly at the doctor. We can't figure out what happened to them. Or she have allergies. Emotions. Difficulty controlling emotions. Relationships. Poor understanding of social interactions. Not to mention the mental health. The depression and the anxiety. And then, you know, we have suicide. Suicide is just almost every little, predominantly girls, that come, hand cut up. I can't take stress no more. Yes? They're just so stressed out. So when I do a feelings check, everybody's stressed out. Miss me depressed. Everybody depressed. Okay, Susie Q, what do you mean by being depressed? Talk to me. And they just start telling you. Our children are under it. Are we not under it too? Of course, we are. We are. Just very recently, a parent called me. And the same thing I dealt with in the morning before I left home is the same thing the parent called me to say about their child. And you know, confidentiality, so I can't give. And my children have signed a little clause with them because they know they're guinea pigs. Yes? So I'll get permission and I hear, Mommy, you can't share this, or you can't share this. And I try to work with it. But the same issue this mother of a teen had at home, exact same precise thing, is the same thing I dealt with in the morning. But the situations were handled differently. And I processed that, and I gave God thanks. I love to say to parents, Mommy, Daddy, you're still the parent. Regardless of what's happening, you are the parent for a reason. You are built, you're expected, the demand is there for you to help that child. So you need to get help when you need to get help. But we'll come to that. Let's look at the children's reaction. Generally, children's reactions to trauma differ. Just like you have clients and I'll have a mommy say to me, Mr. Father does go on like nothing not happening. Because it's a different person, it's a different gender. And so we deal with stresses, or stressors rather, differently. So depending on what that man does, he probably hangs out with his friend, go watch some sports, go drink something, go burn something, I don't know. Whatever he chooses to do. While mommy might be there repeatedly at the session with the child crying down the place. It doesn't mean that this person doesn't care. We deal with things differently, and children react differently to different things. So it depends on the nature of the trauma. So a child who witnesses, say for example, a murder, may not necessarily react to the same react the same way that a child that was raped. They're two completely different things. Yes? Again, the child's family. So I love to talk to a child and ask, about the family dynamics. Where you're from, what kind of work mommy do, kind of a thing, the educational level. Everything comes into play because you want to know how you're going to help this child. What kind of shoring up do you need to give? The community, because communities deal with things differently. And we have to take that into consideration. The protective factors in their lives, and we'll explore that. Again, the age and the development. How is trauma manifested? Young children who experience trauma may have difficulties forming attachment to caregivers. And you probably get statements like, Ladi Pitney, there's nothing wrong with the child. There's nothing wrong with the child. I am at a place where I just I'd have no tolerance for when we speak negatively about a child, as if the child is totally responsible or is even responsible for what's happening. Another factor, how it's manifested, is excessive fear of strangers or separation anxiety. I sat with a young client so we went out, trying to re-socialize them. We went out for lunch. Yeah. But, miss, don't constant carry nobody out for lunch. All right, we're going to have a conversation with your caregivers, and they, of course, they have to give consent. Choose where you want to go, and all of that kind of a thing. And we're sitting. Panic in front of me. What's happening? Those people are watching me. Okay, do you want us to switch seats so I can see what's happening? No, miss. Then yes, miss. Then, miss, I want to leave. No problem, we can leave, because I'm not here to impose on you. The poor people were going about their business. But this is where this young lady was at. And we have to work with it. Sometimes children can be extremely fussy. Yes? So that's the younger ones. Then we have, say, school-age children who engage in aggressive behavior. Don't we know about that? For the teachers in the room, we love to hear, oh, miss, you need to, and sir, I saw a mail, class control and this and that, and you never learned that in college. Teacher getting so much blame because teacher need to be counselors at school, yes? Teacher need to handle what mommy and daddy can't handle at home, yes? Children become withdrawn. Years ago when I served as a guidance counselor, a little boy was at school frantic. Everybody trying to calm him down, calm now come. So they sent for miracle work. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but his thing was, he lost his cat. And then everybody looking at this grade 4 child, big boy about puss dead, and you understand? So I sat with him. The issue wasn't Kitty. When we take the time to just sit and have a conversation and meet that child where he or she is, then we understand what's happening. His concern was his parents were separated. And to add to it, his little comfort was taken. Kitty died. That was his comfort. But it's just your little pussy, teeth like, you understand? Let us just sit and have that conversation. So my favorite word that I'm not so liking, resilience. Resilience to childhood trauma. So some years ago, I do believe, not very long in COVID, I think the Child Month theme had something to do with resilience. I do believe so. When parents and service providers employ a resilience framework to childhood trauma, they understand there are ways, there are always opportunities to support positive development among children, even if they have experienced trauma. So I love to say to my clients that I don't think you'll ever forget you were raped. I don't think you'll ever forget that. I don't think you'll ever forget that you witnessed the murder of your mom, or your dad, or your brother. I don't think you'll ever forget that. However, let's give you a kind of a platform where we're going to work from, where we're going to learn to manage what's happening. Resilience has been defined as the process or capacity to recover. I love to say to bounce back, to stretch yourself, to allow yourself. I'm standing in this room, and I'm looking at some very resilient people. I think some of the most resilient people are parents and teachers. Extremely resilient. So resilience is a thing. Resilience is not a personal trait. It's not something you're born with, okay? Resilience is not a personal trait that individuals do or do not possess, but rather a product of interacting, interfacing, many moving parts. So many factors come together to help to make somebody resilient. Yes? or very personality type helps with that, or culture, or parental background. All of these things help to determine, it assists the way we speak to our own children, the way we discipline them, yes? The way we are able to sit and work through a situation. So think about you heading off to school, and you know you're going to beat traffic, and so my girls eat in the car, right? So I always have lunch bag and teacup and towel and everything in there, because that's where they eat, because I don't do late, okay? So, mommy, one child coming back. What happened? And the uniform changed color. The tea spilled. I said, in the car? Yes, mommy. Okay. On the seat? Yes, mommy. All right, get one rag and grab 2 towels. I have reached the place and changed the uniform, drop in a little water, and we come home, we sort that out. All right? I have reached the place where I'm not allowing anything to bother me. Think about a frustrated parent now who I get a ride or something, or a somebody car. You can't process that, you know. How come? And you don't have not more to make no more tea. And today I get no lunch money. Because, you know, they're not in midline month and that kind of a thing. So the reaction is not going to be the same. Rightly so. Rightly so.
We have seen it. Thank you. Yes, 30 odd years in Kingston. We had seen it. We're still seeing it. We saw it going through the music. Because, well, I taught at Denhamtown. I taught at Kingston College, my first stop. And then moving around, I ended up at Denhamtown 20 odd years. And we witnessed the changes going through and through. Where our students, as we said, they have more problems than we, the adults, have. And we have to be working around. I see where you're going with what you're saying. But you realize that our children are becoming more hardcore. The killers have lost a sense of touch, passion. They have no feelings. And if we continue, I see where you're going with what you're saying. I think it's a survival technique, not for the children, but for us who have to witness what these children are going through. Right? Here it is. We're trying to get them to resolve, because they can't. We might think they're controlling. They're not. I moved from Kingston because of COVID. And I went to my hometown. I'm building there. And I became so comfortable that I decided I was not coming back to Kingston. I'm going back to my hometown. So I found a school in St. Elizabeth. And believe it or not, it is worse than where I was teaching. Because, to tell you the truth, I had coping mechanisms here in that community because a child could not disrespect a teacher. The community would have been behind you, the teacher. I have no coping mechanism in the country because parents not going the route that a parent at the community would have taken when I was at Denhamtown. So my gray hair here. I have to face it all. And I'm seeing all that you're saying. You notice I'm writing, trying to get everything that you're saying. Because I'm going to have to go back there to take on, use your techniques to see how best, because I was talking to somebody outside there and I'm trying to rope him in. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in danger because, yes, you want everybody to be able to cope, but Jamaica is in danger. It's in the music, it's on the internet, they're experiencing violence in every walk of life. And therefore now it's left on us adults to resolve, right? But I just think we are making them into hardcore because they are passionless. And when they come, they are coming for you and they are coming good. And it's not just in Kingston, it is right across Jamaica. So ladies and gentlemen, wake up. We have a task at hand. Yes. You're not finished, but I had to interject.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Yes.
And I thought, we could really just wrap right here. Wake up. No, we're not wrapping, but I thought this was a clear wrap-up point, because we need to wake up. We need to wake up as a parent, and I've done and is doing an excellent job. However, and I leave it right there. Okay, so we spoke about Teacher Dearest. I'm sorry I didn't get the name, and I can't even see you because, Okay, but there's an approach that we need to take towards resilience. Yes? And when we think about ecology, when we think about the different organisms coming together, yes, there's an approach to promote resilience in development among children who experience trauma. Yes? It involves the individual. It involves the parent. It involves the whole family, because a parent is just one parent. I feel it for children who grow up with daddy over there, so, and mommy over there, so, or even if they're in the same space, they have two different ways of parenting. So I learned early. I don't beat. I've never beaten my girls. I will never beat them again, because if I have to beat them again, something wrong with me at this stage. So it's only yesterday I asked one, what if one of us should beat you? I think that would be beyond trauma for her, right? But I don't subscribe to it. I got enough to serve me and my children and my children's children and my children's children. I got enough. And I don't think, no, I'm not traumatized and I'm not hurting. My mother was the best. That's how she knew how to do it. Yes? And if you probably go wake her up from her grave, she'll tell you, and I did a good job. She did a good job, but she never have to beat me so much. So I don't beat. I really don't beat. But one morning, they were at the primary level, and I don't know what happened. And father, we're from two different schools, right? He fixes things, I talk things out. So he needed to fix a situation. So he reached out to slap one child. And I stepped in. And I'm driving to work and I'm feeling pain. So I call him, I'm supposed to let me pitney. Yeah? Didn't deal with that in front of them. I just stepped, I got it on this very hand, the driving hand. And the poor little pitney did maga me. I said, boy, Sisoka that I call me today? And I'm saying, you have to control it. And I'm big and strong. Not little and short like me. You understand? Poor pitney maga. I'm sorry, meager. Okay. So another factor is school. School community. We have some awesome people called teachers. I had the very best upper country. Yes? And so on Teachers' Day, I still call at least one teacher just to say thanks to all our teachers here. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I really do. The community, the culture. We cannot operate in a vacuum. We simply cannot do it alone. We cannot do it alone. I value those who would have gone before me. So I would ask people, how do you handle this kind of a situation? So we have to, it's a community approach to develop resilience in our children. What are some of our risk factors? The circumstances, the characteristics, the conditions, the events, the traits, the very traits of the individual, because none of us in here are the same. And it's okay, we do not need to be like each other. We do not try to get our children to be like each other. So I'm not a fan of some of the headings when we're doing prize giving and I hear like the most disciplined child. Because I remember Heaven help me. We're in a class with this little boy. Little boy not talk. His mother is there at school with him every day, and here I am thinking, I left a little boy, make him learn to develop. This is me thinking. And he comes to school, prim and proper, does very well. He doesn't speak. He not talk. He got the most discipline, and I'm like, seriously. So this is me quietly eating up myself, but you know, I mean, that's how we do things. We have to give him a little thing. So those are some of the risk factors that may increase the likelihood of a person, you know, that may increase the likelihood a person will experience. So protective factors. So we have risk factors and we have protective factors. And some of the protective factors, they're listed. But they're, again, characteristics, conditions, or events that promote healthy development and minimize the risk or likelihood a person will experience a particular illness or event, or its related outcomes. Research has shown that the strongest protective factor linked with resilience to childhood trauma is the reliable presence of a sensitive, nurturing, and responsive adult. So years ago, I saw on social media somebody that most of us would have known. She spoke about going to school, and she went to school with a pair of shoes that was probably 2 times her size. And so she had on many pairs of socks to hold the shoes on. And she spoke about that one teacher, because think about how traumatic that must have been for this young lady. She spoke about that one teacher that pulled her and kept her there. Of course, teacher bought a pair of shoes after that. Yes? But that teacher was sensitive. I have been at a school, and I know we have dress codes and we should adhere. I'm a firm believer in rules. But a child turns up in a red sneakers when the school shoes is black. And you shout from way over there, so you girl. And then that child responds to you negatively. After the child did not want to wear the shoes because the child know that is the wrong shoes, and the mother say you have to wear coming on no more. The mommy just went on. Probably the child was even beaten before she came to school. And now you're coming to this environment scared. And principal have the belt, or the ruler, or whatever, or grade coordinator, whoever, and the child is way over there, so. And you call the child by name. And the child decides, I'm going to step to you. Their defense mechanism. Am I in agreement with it? No. It's wrong. Child is rude. She don't know no better. Or he doesn't know any better. Because of the background from which a child is. The very fact that you were beaten to wear the wrong thing. You know. A little note, since you can't come to school, Miss, please allow Toby to wear this for today. I'm going to try borrow a little thing or beg a little thing. And, you understand? So let us be sensitive to the needs of our children. Please be sensitive. The presence of such a figure can help children by restoring a sense of safety. Can we make a resolve to say, I'm going to be sensitive to the needs of our children? Speak to them differently. Be that person. Be that person. I called a young lady. I don't talk to people on a weekend because I need to restore. But that's the only time I'm going to get to her. She doesn't have a phone and all sorts of stuff. And it made my entire week when I called her Sunday. And she said, your voice sounds familiar. I spoke to her. I saw her sometimes before COVID, but there's a little thing going on. And she said, your voice sounds familiar. That felt good to me. And then she said, are you a counselor? And I said, what do you think? And then I gave my name. And she screamed. And she just started talk. That made me feel good because I've been told she's not talking. She's talking to me. And I wonder why. I wonder why. Can we be that safe space for a child? Can we be that safe space? Protective factors that promote resilience. Support from family, friends, people at school, members of the community. a talent or skill in a particular area. It helps them to burn off. It helps them to express self. Art, singing, dancing. I had a little boy, and he taught me the new moves, and I was carrying on, yeah? They look forward to coming, because there's a place where you can just be yourself. So there are some protective factors that promote resilience. Let's teach them coping skills. Can we try to do that? Can we learn to cope? Well, you're here, yeah? Can we learn to cope? Again, my favorite word. I have to reinforce it. I have to reinforce it. Resilience to childhood trauma depends largely on the support available to a child and his or her family. Family members, teachers, mental health providers, social workers. All of us need to work together to be able to give our children what they deserve. So, this is the meat of the matter. Trauma-informed care. You're here, so you're being informed. So I know, I could just say, that's it. We're taking the time out to be informed so we can better help those who need to be cared for. The context in which children live, learn, and grow shapes both their immediate and long-term well-being. Get that? Yes? Accordingly, children who experience trauma are more likely to exhibit resilience when their environment is responsive. I don't know that I can stop trauma. I don't know that I can do that. But can I do something to assist? Yes. Be that safe space. So in other words, children will benefit when we provide them with the necessary care. Trauma care requires a very comprehensive effort. So programs must be in place, and we need the program facilitators. The school administrators must be a part. I was at a school recently, and the guidance counselor was saying, "Miss, you think I need to tell the principal?" And I say, "Yeah, principal need to know because I'm the principal. Principal run things. So the principal need to know." The bus drivers, yes, they need to know. The canteen staff. But then just I give them food. The canteen staff. The classroom assistants, teachers, family members, everybody must be a part. Treatment is not the sole responsibility of mental health professionals. It's everybody's business. Everybody. It's everybody's business. In fact, every person that touches the life of the children can play an important role. And so, again, another graphic. And then we're coming to the end. I want for us to, first of all, realize, we have to know, yeah? Realize the widespread impact of trauma and understand the potential paths for recovery. So our children are indeed affected, probably infected too. Our children are affected by trauma. We have to recognize the signs and symptoms of trauma in our children, and then we respond. We can only respond when we recognize what's happening. Respond by fully integrating knowledge about trauma into policies and procedures. Kind of not liking the word policies, I hear it a lot. But, there might be some policymakers here. But let's respond. And probably our very last slide tells us how we can respond. I'm not expecting you to do what you can't do, but at least give that child a safe space so they can tell you what's happening. And let's resist re-traumatization. So sometimes the child is re-traumatized. As parents, we love to say, "Tell me what happened." And we're playing police and we're playing everybody and we're playing judge and we're digging out and the pitting not talk to me. Just be there for that child. Allow the child to cry. Allow the child to just play. Sometimes that's all we can do. Let them play. But you need to know what you're going to do with the information when you get it. Yes? So parents would sit in front of me and they're re-traumatizing the child. So I'd say, Mommy, would you kindly just sit on the outside and wait for me, please? Yes, with a nice smile. Okay? So these are just what we went through, so I'm not going to go back right there. So the impact is real, but your response is key. The impact is real. I see it every day. Every single day, I spend my days dealing with people who are impacted by crime and violence, and they're traumatized. So we have a trigger, and then we have the non-trauma-informed response that is going to give us a greater chance for a negative outcome. But on the flip side, we have the trigger plus the trauma-informed response, and we're now informed a little bit. That gives us a greater chance for a positive outcome, and that's what we need. Training and professional development. I don't need to say anything, you're here. You are here. You are here. So well done, ECC, you are here. It provides adults with the necessary tool. You're equipped how to at least make the first move. So training and professional development is important. Parents and everybody involved should share a common language and a view of trauma. They are better able to work together to meet our children's needs. And we come to the conclusion. Trauma-informed, this is just wrapping up what I've just said. So in case you miss anything or you just wake up, this is all I've been saying. Trauma-informed, the guilty ones are laughing. Trauma-informed care is critical to promoting and fostering resilience in every child, and particularly those who have experienced trauma. It requires comprehensive, multi-pronged support from adults in all aspects of our children's lives. It includes increasing adults' knowledge of childhood trauma and helping them recognize the symptoms. Additionally, as programs make their services more trauma-informed, it is important that they promote self-care. I'm big on that word. Self-care. So all of you teachers who answering every one of us parents who call you 10, 11 o'clock and every WhatsApp message, stop it. You need to recoup. You're not running a 24/7 program. Because I do not want when you get to school tomorrow morning, you are stressed out because you're up talking to another child's parent. I don't want a teacher come take out them stress on my child, okay? Because I'm not calling a teacher. You need your break. I don't want nobody calling me after hours. Okay? Self-care is important. Whatever you need to do to care for yourself as a parent, as a teacher, and our children as well, please to do it. If you learn nothing today, care for yourself. So when we're less stressed, we're not going to be snapping at somebody else. What can you do? Be present. Be attentive. Be present. Mommy, I need to talk to you. Lord Jesus, I go wash your plate and I just come home and the traffic. Stop. Leave the plates. I need to iron for your morning. Ironing can be done. Your child is way more important. Miss, I can't carry picnic on my counseling because... Ease up, Mommy. Ease up. Ease up, Daddy. Be present. You're teaching a class and you recognize that C-sec around the corner and, you know, it's okay. Save one life. Send them to the guidance counselor. Do something. Be attuned. Know what's happening. Know what's happening. And could we be responsive? I beg of us. That's all I'm asking us to do. And just in the event you're wondering, I've heard all of this. I simply do not know where to go. I don't know if I hear all of this. Me's not a counselor, miss. A parent looked at me one day And I found it rather amusing. I'm telling her all of what she can do and should do and not do. And she just looked at me. Miss Me is not a psychologist. And I said, all right, cool, fair enough. So here are a list, and this is by no way, this has not exhausted the many areas in which there's help is available. I thank you so much for coming. I beg of us to play your part and make the difference. And I thought a great way for us to end today is to do that which we know already, something I learned as a child. And you just roll it off, and it didn't mean much to me at that time. May I invite us to stand and repeat this prayer in the form of our national pledge. I think we're a blessed land. Yes, regardless of what's happening, we're in a good place. And take it from me. We've been elsewhere. We're in a good place. So let's have the pledge. Before God, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in the peace of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. Lord bless you. Thank you very much. You may be seated. I'm told I'm allowed to take one very burning question. It's just really burning, and everybody's going to benefit from you asking. So that one question. All right, very good. Okay, so there aren't any questions. I'm not seeing any hand. I'm seeing a hand and a smile. Go right ahead. Sure. How would you want to get in contact with me? You could visit me, you could email me, you could write me, you could, what you wanted. Okay. All right, so here goes. I can be reached at, wow. I'm going to say it quick, don't ask me to repeat. 876, not yet. It's the easiest thing you'll ever hear. It's 2 numerals in the number. So our area code 876, it has 2 4s and it has 5 6s. The 2 4s are at the end. 466 6664. Easy. You'll pass your PEP exams. 466 664. Have a great day. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Has anybody left a high-end iPhone outside? Yes, I just bring it inside and bring it over there. So say if anybody is missing a phone, the phone is over there. You can ask anybody over there for the phone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did we all enjoy that presentation? Yes. Well, let's give Miss Simone Sharrier a round of applause. Now, I would have picked up or written down 3 of the points she made. One says, remember the context in which children live, learn, and grow shapes both their immediate and long-term well-being. And also, the impact is real, but your responses, nope. The response is key. So the impact is real, but how we respond to it is key. And lastly, play your part because you make a, come on, I'm yelling in here. Play your part, you make a difference. Now, the register is there, and we also have an evaluation to be completed. It will also be shared. After you have completed the registration and the evaluation, we will break for lunch and we resume at 1 p.m. All right?